obviously nice to be back in the winner's circle, but you would have been impressed with the way the team held on and produced their best footy in the last quarter tonight as well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think really proud of the way the players stuck to the plan probably for the first 2 or 3 quarters, and then we're able to to really execute and play some powerful football in the back end, and to get the result against a really good footy team in those conditions was very good.
What was the big difference? Obviously, as you said, they stuck with the game plan that it was sort of 5 points, 6 points, 7 points. Like, it never got more than a goal or so with that margin, that you always felt confident that the team was in the contest, but also that they could come over the top in that last quarter.
Yeah, I think in the first quarter they probably moved the ball from their back half to the front half too easily. They went at almost 60% for their chains, which is way too high. So for the playing group to be able to respond, certainly after half time with that and restrict that movement, gave us some opportunities to get some turnovers in some dangerous spots. And once we get those turnovers, the ability to be able to pounce on that and then create potent options ahead of the ball, whether it's through handball, run and chain, or whether it's through even just possessing the ball for a little bit and taking marks. They played the situation really well and took their opportunities when they had to.
And it seemed at least a clear directive as soon as you get that ball in the contest to get it forward as quickly as possible. Angus Sheldrick coming in for his first start in a while was really good at that in the first half. Was that the message, just try and get that territory battle in your favour? Yeah,
it is. They're top 4 in that sense, and as well they're a really good clearance contested ball team, and the number 1 pressure team. So for us to be able to try and overuse the handball and invite their pressure in the conditions, especially as well, the option to be able to try and take yardage and get as much field position as we possibly could and try and equalise our forward line as much as we could to give ourselves the best chance. And it was a little bit rusty at times, but certainly with a young forward group to be able to do that and then keep the ball in the front half for enough of the time, certainly after quarter time, was really good.
Some of the boys have mentioned that Mickey O addressed the team before the match. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what Mickey had to say? And obviously it fired him up pretty well.
Yeah, I think certainly there's opportunities every time to change it up a little bit, and with the week and the start of the Sir Doug Nicholls round and obviously Marn Grook tonight, the ability to be able to acknowledge what Indigenous people have done for this great game. We've been fortunate to have some amazing ones play for our football club. So, I spoke to Mickey throughout the week and asked him if he could come down and just address the players before the game. And, it's about respecting the people that you have at your football club. His message was great. It was firm. It was what he wanted to stand for, the footy club, what it meant to him. He did an amazing job.
Obviously, it was great for you guys to get Joel Marty back this week, but I don't know, you might be a little bit worried about the incident at the end there, and also Aaron Francis concussed, I think, so your key stocks take another hit.
Yeah, it looks like they probably will. Obviously Aaron to be subbed out, concussed wasn't ideal. He's played an important role for us, and then the Joel one. I've had a brief look at it, but that'll be in the AFL's hands now. We want to make sure that we play within the rules, and this was no different. So it was good to have him back. He provided a really strong focal point for our playing group. It's what he does for our footy club, and we'll see what action takes from here.
I feel like you can't catch a break, particularly when it comes to taller players as well.
Yeah, a little bit. You've just got to try something different, move with it as easily as you possibly can, and I think you can't get caught. You can't get caught spending a lot of time worrying about what you don't have. I'd rather worry about some solutions and some things that I can try and we can work our way through.
Is there a sense of frustration that Joel's incident with less than 2 minutes to go, when you're up by 22 points at the time, that is going to likely to leave you short, or maybe with a moment of ill discipline when the game's effectively over?
Yeah, and we sort of make sure that our forwards want to chase out as much and put as much pressure on the opposition just the right way.
And is it similar for, Justin McInerney had another incident as well after he's been suspended earlier in the year, and he's had a collision with Jack Silvani in the second term that sent him to the turf. Thankfully, he was able to play on for a bit longer, but, whether he's under an MRO verdict or not, those sorts of moments that could cost you in future weeks.
Yeah, I think one thing you want the players are certainly aware of is there's a line that you need to go to and you can't cross it. So we need to make sure that, we keep reminding them of the line. And if you do cross it, there is consequence for that. So, I haven't seen the Justin one as well as I saw the Joel one. So that's one thing that I'll have to go back and look at. But, our messaging to the players is get to that line, not over it.
It was obviously a big call at the selection table in terms of both Hayden McLean dropping out of the side and then Ollie Florent starting as the sub, two guys who most would consider, I guess, when looking at the Swans in the best 22. Was that sort of a kind of a message you wanted to send? Was it just picking the best team? And I guess how are you happy with the results of that selection tonight?
No, it was probably a little bit of both. I think, and to a lot of, some of our players haven't been in really consistent form throughout games and week to week. So we wanted to make sure that, players are aware that, if they don't perform at a level that's required and play their role for the team, that their position gets put in jeopardy. And, it's easier probably for me to go a young player, take them out of the team, but, to take an established player out does send a message. And we want our players to understand that even if there is injuries, we've got to fight like hell for our spot in the football team. And, they spoke to them throughout the week. They were great with that. They'll work as hard as they can on their game, like every player we want on our list to do.
Did Ollie come in at half-time and sort of pick up on those things that you were looking for him to add to his game or whatever it might have been?
Yeah, it's hard, obviously, as a sub to come on and have a huge impact. But, he's been playing certainly on the wing for us and went to half-back when Aaron got out. We didn't want to sort of use Joel Hamling behind the ball. We opted to keep that where he was on Wiedering and, ramps to play on Mackay late in the game, when he's 15 centimetres shorter and do what he does is unbelievable.